It's 5:30, and I will go ahead and call this meeting to order of the City Council of the City of Torrington. This is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. Good evening and welcome to all. As usual, we have Mr. Ryan Caith here from KGOS, KERM Radio. This council meeting is being broadcast live on KGOS and KERM, and it's also live on YouTube and will be up for review in the future on YouTube. We also have Ms. Jess Oakes here from the Torrington Telegram, and welcome to the press. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked Councilman Kelly to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the next item on our agenda are the mayor's informational items. Tomorrow, September 17th, 2025, is celebrated as Constitution Day. September 17 through 23, 2025, is known as Constitution Week. Each year, the President of the United States declares and proclaims September 17 through 23 as Constitution Week. Tonight, as part of the regular agenda, I will be asking Council to authorize my signing as mayor a proclamation declaring Constitution Week in the City of Torrington. As I've noted at previous council meetings, our well-known individual rights, summed up in a phrase, the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, are ours as citizens, because the rights are given to us by God, the sovereign of all. Our United States Constitution lists some of these individual rights and serves as our fundamental law of the land and as our unifying social compact. As citizens, it is incumbent upon each of us to study our Constitution, both to understand our individual rights and our responsibilities as citizens, and to work to ensure that this great American experiment in self-government does not fail in our time. Join with me this week in pondering our individual rights, liberties, and responsibilities as citizens, and the great privilege and blessing it is to be a United States citizen. On Saturday, the annual Classic Car Show, sponsored by the Scottsbluff Valley Street Rods, was held on Main Street. This was coincidental with the ongoing Farmers or Artisans Market event that was held on the Sunrise Church parking lot at 1100 East Valley Road in Torrington. Both the car show and the farmers market were great events held in the city last Saturday. The car show had over 120 entries. The car show started in 1973. There were entries from Douglas, Cheyenne, Bridgeport, Lyman, and as far away as Max, North Dakota, Yuma, Colorado, and Yampa, Colorado. It was great to see the beautiful cars on Main Street. The display, with so many being shown by local owners too. It was great to show off our beautiful downtown Main Street to folks from all over the area. Thanks to all the participants in these two great local events, the car show and the farmers market. Under our Wyoming system of government, the City of Torrington is responsible for providing many services to our residents. That allows for all of us to live what I call a civilized life. It is the envy of all the world what we have for services: indoor plumbing and a functional sewer system, clean drinking water, safe and passable city streets and sidewalks, a first-rate city cemetery, excellent police and fire protection, a first-rate city ambulance service, regular and sanitary trash pickup and disposal, and reliable and efficient electricity. Also, recreation, the municipal swimming pool, golf course, sports fields, and the walking path. We have so much to be thankful for. I wish to thank the leaders of all our city departments and all of their dedicated and skilled employees. It is unbelievable how complex the utility system is to operate. It is amazing how skilled, experienced, and dedicated are all our city crews. A couple of announcements regarding, first is Cleanup Week. This is on the city website, but I want to say it here during Mayor's informational item. It's called Annual Fall Cleanup. Saturday, September 20th through Saturday, September 27th is the annual fall cleanup. Bring your garbage to the baler from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. Saturday, September 20th and Saturday, September 27th, the baler will be open from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's always closed on Sunday. You must have a city bill with a sanitation charge on your bill and a valid ID to dump for free during this week. You are always welcome to dump with a fee otherwise. There's a limit to 5 tires without rims per household and no commercial tires, heavy truck, or equipment tires. No hazardous chemicals or paint, and freezers and refrigerators must be tagged as free on free by a licensed agent. We also have this announcement, and before I go ahead and read this, I want all to know that the city administrative staff down at the end of the hall are working hard to notify everybody of this by email, every way they can think of to give notification. But here's what everybody's being notified of. The city of Torrington, Wyoming is in the process of converting our online bill pay provider from Payment Service Network, PSN, to Cassell. PSN will not be available after October 15th, 2025. We are pleased to announce that our new online bill pay service is super easy to use and makes paying your bill much more convenient. To use the new online payment portal, you must first register and create a user account. Once you have registered, you will be able to pay for utilities, contractor business licenses, building permits, roofing permits, right-of-way permits, Pioneer Park RV camping fees, and accounts receivable statements. Please visit our website, torrington.ourcommunityconnect.com/login, and register today. And if you can't get it figured out, you can talk to the ladies down at the east end of the building, and they will tell you everything you need to know to do the new online pay service. Thank you very much. All right, the next item on our agenda is approval of the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the September 2nd, 25 council meeting as published.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
All right, I have a motion from Councilman Deal to approve the consent agenda as set forth. Do I have a second?
Second.
I think it was Councilman Victorin. Got a second from Councilman Victorin. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approval of the consent agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, the consent agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda itself. And what I would like to do is ask for a motion for an amended agenda, leaving everything in there, but adding in as item 7A after the bills, the Next Era Project Proposed Impact Assistance MOU. So I'd like to add that as item 7A, and Mrs. Strecker and I will do our best to explain everything we mean by that item on the agenda, and we'll have plenty of information for you. So what I would do is ask for a motion to approve an amended agenda, adding item 7A, the proposed impact assistance MOU.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve the agenda as amended.
All right, I have a motion from Councilman Victorin to approve the agenda as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, second from Councilman Kelly. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the the agenda as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, the amended agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is what we call the public forum. I don't see any takers. There's that little black box in front of Councilman Warren. There's sign-up sheets in here. if you want to participate in this, but I do like to explain it for all those who are listening. This is for non-agenda items. There is a time limit of 2 minutes, and the speaker must sign up before the meeting. It is a time for the council to listen. No action will be taken. So in the future, if you want to take advantage of that, feel free to do so. All right, we are down the agenda on an informational item. We have one of those this evening. It is 307 Extreme Archery Tag, and I have spoken to Jake Johnner. He came into my office and explained what this is about, and I thought he needed to come to council and explain it to them. So, Jake, if you're out there, which I see you, would you please come up here and I'll give you a chance to explain this whole concept to the council.
So, hello, as stated, I am Jake Johnner. I was born and raised here, and I've worked about 19 years for the city of Torrington. So what 307 Extreme Archery Tag is a business proposal that I am presenting. It was born out of a desire to address a need in our community, and that need is the lack of affordable family entertainment options for the youth and residents of Torrington and the surrounding areas. We wanted to create something that would bring families together, promote an active lifestyle, and provide a unique and thrilling experience. Our core values revolve around providing safe, affordable family fun activities for everyone in Torrington and beyond. We want 307 Extreme Archery Tag to be synonymous with fun, family, and community engagement. So I'm sure you're all asking, what is archery tag? So archery tag is a mix of archery, dodgeball, and paintball, but without the paint. Players take aim at each other with these soft-tipped foam arrows, and this one here I believe is an 18-pound bow, but 20 to 28-pound bows. There is a designated field. There is an 18-foot neutral zone in the middle that you cannot be shot and shoot from. And then there is a 22-foot action zone on each side of that. So you are, at least 18 feet away at all times. So we, at the moment, do not have a physical location, and so what we were looking to do was set up at a city park. And that's why I'm here today, to see if we could use the city parks as a venue.
And Jake did come in and explain this to me, and he said he originally went to Mark Wise and asked him about it, and he said, I think you need to go talk to the mayor and arranged to be able to come in to explain it to myself and to council. Because I think Mark told you, it's going to be weird if the citizens see you out there.
Yeah, shooting arrows at people and...
Yes, so we would all hate to get called
Yeah.
on Sunday afternoon of what's going on,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I explained to Jake that I wanted him to introduce council to this concept. I'll say my 2 cents, and then they can ask questions, Jake.
Okay.
I like the idea because I agree with you. There is not enough outside activities for families and for kids. When you do this, it's organized. It's not
Yes.
just a bunch
Yeah,
of
it's
chaotic
not-
kids
yeah,
running around.
Yeah.
And there's rules to it. There's equipment to it.
Yep. And all equipment would be provided by me, the bows, the arrows, the helmets, all that. So they just come, we're looking at $10 for 30 minutes. They would sign a waiver. Right now, we are getting quotes on insurance, just because in the colder months, we have looked into using the administration buildings gym, the old middle school. And through the school, you will probably more than likely have to carry insurance. So
Okay.
we are getting quotes on that.
Okay, and when we had our conversation, I was saying like maybe when they're not, it's not being used by the softball girls or the adult softball league, you're looking at maybe on the outfield of the
Yes,
softball
yeah,
field
yeah,
or
we could
something
use
like
the
that.
outfield of softball. Scott Sargent, he's the one that runs the adult co-ed softball league, and he said, you know, if we talk it over with the appropriate group, we could probably use those lights as well, you know, if it gets dark and we run past sunset, so.
Okay, well, I'd sure open it up to council to ask Jake any questions they
All
have.
right.
This would be kind of like a evening, weekend?
Right now, we're looking to do Saturdays, probably 8 in the morning until, you know, whenever it gets dark. And then if community demand is there, we would probably start Friday evenings through Sunday. And then we have the option to do private events, birthday parties, you know, stuff like that.
Are they doing this elsewhere, probably Colorado or Nebraska?
The closest one is Casper, but I have not found a whole lot of information on it. So this is a knockoff company right here. This is Aerosoft. The original and the kit we are looking at is called Archery Tag. The man that invented it, John Jackson, he has been in business for 12 years, and he has not once had a single insurance claim, is what he has said. And so when you buy that package from him, he will put you on a website, and there will be a little pinpoint on the map that says we are an officially licensed archery tag provider. There is one down in Denver, I believe it is, called Archery Dodgeball, but they are not licensed through him. So, but it's pretty big in the bigger cities, not so much around the smaller communities, so.
And the girls softball field or someplace like that, other than where families would be gathering for a
Yes.
Sunday picnic or
Yes,
something is what you're
yes.
looking at.
And me and Lynette spoke, and like I said, we have ample parks around this town, and they all have a very large field. So if one is being used, we can go set up at Pioneer or Vista Park or, so there are options around, you know, with city parks. And then as the weather turns colder, we're looking to rent the community building, the old Lincoln Gym, and use that. And then, like I've said, we spoke with Gabe Bartlett using the old middle school gym as well.
Yeah, you got a particular age and target in mind?
10 to 80 can play, 80 and above, as long as they can pull back a 20-pound bow.
Now, is this kind of like laser tag? Only that you never get close enough like you did laser tag?
Pretty much, it's laser tag would be a good thing to compare it to as well. And once you're hit, you stay in the game. You don't go sit out on the sidelines. You know, so you're playing the entire 10 minutes. So the object of the game is to see who can get the most hits. So if a person gets hit by an arrow, that's 1 point for your team. If you catch a opposing team's arrow, that's 3 points for your team. And so you
Literally
go.
catch it?
Yeah, yep. They don't fly that fast, and at 18 some feet away, if you're pretty good reflexes, you can catch them.
And you have eye protection and all the
Yep,
things?
it has I didn't print off my PowerPoint because my computer transposed pages and it was, but, this here kind of shows the head protection. I'll pass that around. It's a foam helmet, and it's one size fits all. There's a Velcro strap in the back that you can adjust. But,
You basically supply everything.
Everything.
A person would need to play the
Yep.
the
Yep.
game.
Yep. The only thing we wouldn't supply would be athletic cups. If you get into league play, it is recommended that males wear an athletic cup, but Other than that, we supply everything. It comes, when you set up your field, each side has 3 bunkers, and, you know, all that comes with this kit.
And you have that equipment, you set out the
Yep.
bunkers?
Yep.
The
Yep.
whole playing arrangement?
Yep, it comes with the rapid field setup, all that. And so as a consumer, all you would need to bring is just yourself. So,
All right, and I told you, Jake, tonight is just informational.
Yes, yeah.
Because if we decide to go ahead with this and allow you to do it, I'm sure Mr. Eddington's gonna want a waiver.
Yeah.
Walkability.
Yeah.
Signed and whatever else we might need.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other questions for Jake while he's here? All right, and thank you for the handout, Jake.
all right, thank you for your
Appreciate it.
time.
You're very welcome. All right, next item on the agenda is the item number 2 under action items. Proclamation, Constitution Week, September 17 through 23 of 2025, and I will read the proclamation. At the top, it says City of Torrington, Constitution Week, September 17 through 23, 2025. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law, and whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document, its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17 through 23, 2025 as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Torrington, Wyoming, I do hereby proclaim September 17 through 23, 2025 as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Torrington, Wyoming, to be affixed this 17th day of September, 2025. Herb Doby, Mayor. Attest, Lynette Strecker, Clerk Treasurer. So that is the proclamation that I will be asking council to approve my signing. But before we get to that, we have 2 lovely ladies here tonight, Lucy Martin and Nancy Zimmer, who have brought this to my attention. I believe this is the 3rd year that we've done this since I've been mayor, and I don't know the history prior to that. But Lucy, I know you had some items of interest to share with us.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Lucy Martin. I'm a member of the Caitlin DAR, Daughters of the Revolution, out of Scottsbluff. Nancy Zimmerer is a DAR member out of the Elizabeth Ramsey DAR in Wheatland. So we tag team on a lot of different things. But this evening, thank you for having us. Thank you for doing the proclamation. We have a flag code that we're going to be passing out to you. And hopefully the flag will always be our guiding point. And while Nancy is doing that, I have some interesting Constitution facts for you. In May 1787, delegates from 12 states met in Philadelphia to redesign the United States government. It took less than 100 working days to create the Constitution. Oops, I didn't get you all of them. Sorry. I wish they could do things under 100 days now. Governor Morris, a representative from Pennsylvania, is largely responsible for the language used in the Constitution. Pennsylvania State Assembly Assistant Clerk Jacob Schall is believed to be the man who actually penned the Constitution that was signed. The first large and small state couldn't agree on whether the population of states should be determined by determine their number of votes. The Great Compromise, or the Connecticut Compromise, is the plan where states agreed the House of Representative members should be determined by the population, and the Senate would be represented each state equally. In September 17, 1787, 39 out of the 55 delegates signed the United States Constitution. Fascinating facts. The White House, the Constitution protects the fundamental rights of the United States citizens. This special document changes with the times, which is why it's sometimes called the living document. Pennsylvania State House, the same place the Declaration of Independence was written, was also where the Constitution was written. Delaware was the first state to agree to the Constitution. Do you know who was the last? It was Rhode Island. It took about half an hour to read the current Constitution. I will not do that tonight. After many states agreed to use the Constitution, it was set to be used starting on March 9th, 1789. How many times do you think the Constitution has been changed? It has been changed or amended 27 times since it first was accepted, over 237 years ago. Amendments to the Constitution are made included new rights, such as the 13th, which outlawed slavery, and the 19th, which gave women the right to vote. Constitution Day is celebrated on the 17th of September to commemorate the day that it was signed and completed. Lastly, I will give you some weird facts. Sometimes you want to scratch your head on these. I don't understand why. At age 88, Benjamin Franklin was the oldest member of the Constitutional Congress. James Madison kept a journal during the convention, and it was sold to President Jackson in 1837 for, anybody want to guess?
$10.
$30,000. In 1804 to 1965, there was no amendments to the Constitution, making it the longest period without an amendment. The guys who created the Constitution were called framers. The youngest member of the convention was a 26-year-old Jonathan Dayton. Wide span, 26 to 88. Lots of good brain power. The President of the United States does not play a role in amending the Constitution. We have lots of other people that do. This evening, I would like to present you with your own pocket-sized Constitution.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Lucy. Appreciate it. All right, I spoke to these ladies just prior to the meeting tonight, and I thought that after the motion is discussed and voted on regarding the proclamation, that we would take a couple of moments and allow for a photo. So, item number 2, I would look for a motion to approve my signing of the proclamation set forth in item 2.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve your signing of the proclamation.
All right, I have a motion from Councilman Victron to approve my signing of the proclamation on Constitution Week. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Deal. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving my signing the Constitution Week proclamation in item 2 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, my signing is approved, and I will indeed sign it. And ladies, if you want to come up here and have a photo with us, please, you're welcome. I don't know who's going to take the photo, but
Maybe the press.
Not much of a photographer, but I'll do my best.
It's not a crime scene photo.
No numbers? I don't need overalls first, yeah, you don't need to hold the number up.
Everybody come in front of it.
all right, put the ladies in front. Somebody direct us. Shane, continue.
I'll stand in
kinda-
between these
Perfect.
beautiful women.
There you go.
Go. Try one down a little bit lower. Can't tell if I'm fuzzy or the screen is.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Careful there. Thank you.
All right. We are now on item number 3 of the action items. Special event permit. Sean Keith with Torrington High School is requesting a special event permit for a homecoming parade to be held on September 25th, 2025, from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. on Main Street. The applicant is also requesting that the special event permit be waived. And staff reference for this is Chief Matt Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is our annual homecoming parade that we have done for a number of years. I'm not sure how many years, but there's a lot of them. It's a fun event to support our local students. Does happen during the business hours downtown. Starts at, the official parade time start would be right around 9 a.m. We would run from 23rd down to 20th. And then the parade and students would cut back to the west to return to the high school. There are some operational complexities involved in kind of shutting down Main Street for a few minutes in the middle of the business day, but I think we have a decent plan to accommodate that that has been successful in years past. The impacts for the city are listed there for your review, and I think the only thing that we do need to work on just a little bit before we finalize this, I wasn't able to review the signature sheet until just before the council meeting, but we are missing a couple of businesses that would have an impact that do need to have their signature or notification done for the event. So my recommendation for this evening would be conditional approval upon getting the rest of those businesses signed off on so that we can comply with the ordinance requirements. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
All right, I'm going to ask you guys to come up in a moment. Chief Johnson, the agenda just says applicant is requesting that the special event permit fee be waived. But as you and the rest of the councilmen know, there's two parts to this. There's also you give an educated estimate of how much city time is involved in this, and it's, for law enforcement personnel and for streets department personnel regarding barricades and those sorts of things. And I actually did my own math, I think I'm correct. Under your estimates, the cost to the city was $382.01.
That's my estimate, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Ms. Keith, do you want to come up and bring your students? Introduce them to us?
Yeah, just point that they were doing this when my mom graduated from high school, so at least 75 to 80 years.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
It's a long tradition. Hi, I am Sean Keith, and I'm actually a counselor at Torrington High School, but I'm also a sponsor for the Student Council at Torrington High School. And I'm going to let these young ladies introduce themselves because they need that practice. So,
I'm Ava Mattis. I met you guys last year, but I'm the Student Council President.
I'm Taylor Cushman, and I'm a junior at Torrington High School, and I'm in Student Council. I'm Briella Wolf. I'm a sophomore at THS, and I'm also in Student Council.
All right, so this event is sponsored by Student Council.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. We put a lot of time and stuff into it, and it's always fun for us to go downtown and watch everybody and celebrate the big game and stuff, so, yeah.
And I think it's a Thursday morning, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Gentlemen, do you have any question for the young ladies or for Ms. Keith? She's a young lady too. Any of the ladies?
some standards.
Who is our opponent that homecoming week?
The football game is Lander, and I'm not sure who's volleyball.
Good question.
I'm not sure volleyball, but football's Lander.
And I think that same day you guys do the bonfire, right?
Go ahead and tell them your events that you have planned
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that week.
So Monday is the bonfire.
Okay.
And then Tuesday's Buff Puff, so the boys go and they play volleyball instead of the girls. And then Wednesday is just kind of some student stuff. And then Thursday's Powder Puff, so we're going to go play football. And we've got practice for that after this, actually. And then Thursday's also the pep rally and the parade. And then Friday is the game, and the dance and stuff, so.
All right.
And I'd like to say that our student council, we split into committees is how they've decided to do this, and each committee has a chairperson, and that's how they organize the events. So they have like dress-up days, they have their weekly activities, parade is one of those committees, and so it's really student-ran. I mean, I'm there to just supervise, but honestly, these young people do an amazing job the last 3 years that I've been involved in it. They've done an amazing job of planning it from beginning to end, and it's always gone over very well. And it's a great community event. We invite the community to a lot of the activities. The pep rally's open to the community, the parade, the Buff Puff and Powder Puff games are open to the community. So it's just a good time, good family fun for the city. So.
And I have a question. I know Councilman Deal and Councilman Kelly moved here in about 1970 or so, but Councilman Deal and I grew up here and we're the oldest ones up here. I remember when I was in high school, this was very popular with the downtown merchants. And almost every merchant, and I don't know if the kids did it, I think the kids did it, but the merchants allowed you to put displays up in each merchant's window. Do they still do that sort of thing?
We don't quite do displays, but we are going down on Friday, and like last year, we used chalk markers, and we decorated their windows. So we don't really do displays, but that's kind of similar, something we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and as Mayor Doby has suggested, I was there some time ago, and the only contest I was really good at was the Ugly Man contest.
You need to reinvigorate that.
He's just bragging.
All right. This is a question that I even hesitate to ask. I know you're asking for the $200 special permit fee to be waived, because it's the student council that's doing it, right? But I feel compelled to ask, the cost to the city are $382.01. Is there any slush fund for the high school to pay that?
Honestly, I can't speak on behalf of the district. I was told that if any fees are to be billed, it would go to our district, and then they would probably discuss paying those. We do our own fundraisers for student council, so we do have some money that I'm sure we could come up with if we needed to. But I will say each club and organization at the high school at this point comes up with their own fundraising, and they raise the money to do things. And so a lot of our money does go towards the high school. You know, we don't spend our money on ourselves so much. We don't go on lavish trips or anything like that with our student council. It all goes back into the school. So if that's something the city feels like it needs paid, you know, like because the funds aren't there, I'm sure we could find donors, or we could find some way of coming up with that money if we needed to.
Well, I just felt responsible to ask the question,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, I understand that.
And I don't know what kind of emotion I'm going to get.
Right, I
either.
understand that. And we just appreciate anything that you guys can do, honestly. And then the rest of it, we will figure out a way. I mean, like I said, these students have always found a way to do it, and I don't doubt that they would do it this year as well. So, but we just appreciate anything you can do.
Okay. And I have a question. I know Chief Johnson said he's asking for a conditional approval of this because there are 2 merchants that need to be notified downtown.
There's a couple that we need to take care of.
Okay.
Do you want to speak on that, Ava?
Yeah, so we had been downtown twice, and both times, one time I did go to like Bread Doctor, and I went in and I talked to them and I let them know, but they wouldn't sign because their owner wasn't in. So that was one of the things, and then when we went down again, they were closed. So we were talking about maybe a form or a slip we could give the businesses just to let them know, because some of them were closed, like the post office. We went in again yesterday morning and they were closed again, so, and what was the other one, Chief?
Java Jar.
Oh, yeah, Java Jar. They were closed as well when we went in, so.
And since you young ladies are here and in government at the high school level, I just want to explain to you why we have that. Because this is notice to those merchants who may be affected. And usually they'll sign it and because they agree with it, right? But if you've given notice, even if they don't sign it, then they've been notified what you're asking for. And if they're not happy with this, they have every right in the world to come in and talk to us when this comes up on the agenda and file their objection with us. So that's what the reasoning is for that, okay? It's just notice. And in America, everybody gets their notice, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
I'm just
Councilman
curious. I was
Griffin.
on the student council when I was in high school, and so I'm curious if you girls or the club, the student council rather, is planning to go to state student council.
WASC. Yeah, we go to WASC every year, so, yeah.
Do you know where it's at this year?
It's Cheyenne.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I was hoping you could maybe explain what other plans you have for the rest of the school year as student council.
So we always do our hunger initiative. So last year we raised over $1,400 for our hunger initiative, and then that was something that she matched the money.
Governor's wife.
Yeah, the governor's
First lady.
wife. She that's something that she puts into, so however much the school raises, she matches it, and then that goes towards the hunger initiative. And then we also did a blood drive last year, and that was really good for the community, so we plan on doing that again. And yeah, we kind of do some random fundraisers throughout the school year, so.
Now, are you elected by the student body or just from within the council?
The student body.
That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Keith, and thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.
Appreciate that. You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Okay.
All right, given all that information, we are on item number 3. And I would entertain a motion to approve the special conditionally approve the special event permit, waive the special event permit fee, and depending if I get this motion, and waive the costs.
Mr. Mayor, I would make the motion to approve the special event permit, the waiving of the $200 fee, and the waiving of the city costs, and make it conditional, and once Chief Johnson has been notified, allow him to provide the final approval for this.
All right. So, thank you for that motion. I have a motion from Councilman Deal on item 3 to conditionally approve the special event permit, waive the special event permit fee, waive the costs, and give Chief of Police Matt Johnson final authority to let them go ahead. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Second from Councilman Warren. All right. That's a long motion, but I won't necessarily repeat it, but I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Item 3, all those in favor of approving the conditional event permit for the homecoming parade, waiving the special event permit fee, and waiving the city costs. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nay, that's approved conditionally. Get your stuff done and get it to Matt Johnson. All right, thank you, ladies. All right, we are on item number 4, amendment number 5 to the agreement for professional services with Enberg Miller Engineers. Staff recommends approval of amendment number 5 to the current agreement dated July 1, 2023, in the amount of $40,970. And I have for staff reference, Director of Public Works, Jeff Harkins, and I would call on Mr. Harkins.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This amendment number 5 is to our 5-year agreement with Enberg Miller Engineers. This is basically for the required environmental monitoring out at our landfill. It includes monitoring, testing, and state reporting to DEQ. And this is typical every year. And I'd be agreeable to answering any questions you might have.
Run-of-the-mill stuff that we have to do for the landfill, right?
Correct. There are basically 2 reports generated every year out at the landfill, one in June, one in December, so.
And the cost has already been included in the sanitation budget for the year.
Correct.
All right, gentlemen, any further questions for Mr. Harkins?
I have to ask, I guess, is this something that staff can do? Can landfill staff do this job?
I would say no. I think it has to be done by a licensed engineer.
And the purpose is to satisfy a DEQ requirement, right?
Correct. I mean, it's part of the landfill requirements.
Is this state DEQ or?
State DEQ.
I presume somewhere there's a breakdown of the costs.
Not much of a breakdown. I mean, the report basically takes the majority of this. There's like a $10,000 contingency that Ed could use if he needed to do some surveying or something else that DEQ requires, but the majority of it is just for the monitoring and the creation of the report.
If there's nothing further, Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve the amendment number 5 to the agreement for professional services with Inberg Miller Engineers as presented.
All right, we are on item number 4. We got a motion from Councilman Victor to approve amendment number 5 as set forth in item 4. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Warren. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote on item number 4. All those in favor of approving amendment number 5 to the agreement for professional services with Inberg Miller Engineers as set forth, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, this is approved. We are on the next page of the agenda. That's item number 5. Reject bid, new 1-ton extended cab work truck with utility box. Staff recommends rejecting all bids considered at the September 2nd, 2025 City Council meeting and rescind the notice of award dated September 5, 2025. And I thought I would introduce this and then in a particular way and then call on Director of Public Works, Jeff Harkins. But attached to your agenda, gentlemen, is a form, and I'm going to read it verbatim, that was sent out to all the bidders. It is entitled, Notice of Intent to Request City Council to Reject All Bids and Rescind Notice of Award. Comes now the City of Torrington, and hereby gives notice to all vendors attached hereto that Torrington City staff will request at the September 16th, 2025 City Council meeting that the governing body reject all bids considered at the September 2nd, 2025 City Council meeting and rescind the notice of award dated September 5, 2025 attached hereto. The action shall be requested for the reason that the Water/Wastewater Department head mistakenly represented that only one bid was in compliance with the bid specifications when all bids, except one, awarded actually bid a, quote, low profile, unquote, utility box set forth in the bid specifications, but could not meet the 90-day time limit for delivery. The bid that was awarded did not comply with the, quote, low profile, unquote, specification, but could meet the 90-day time limit for delivery. The City of Torrington has been advised that one or more vendor/bidder could provide a, quote, standard height, unquote, utility box that was included in the bid, was ultimately awarded contrary to the bid specifications and meet the 90-day limit for delivery. Consequently, all bids should be rejected, and that was dated the 9th day of September, 2025, signed by James A. Eddington, Torrington City Attorney, and attached to that was the notice of award that was sent to Transfit West Ford on September 5th of 2025. So with that introduction, I would call on Director of Public Works Harkins, or whomever is best.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, as you stated, we had some bids that were kind of in conflict with the specifications, and we had some bidders that were questioning that, and so it seems like the most fair and best way to go forward with this is just to reject all bids and then go out with a new set of bidding requirements.
Okay, a rebid. All right, and I know Mr. Al Maloney from Transwest Ford, a little bit of a long story. We had a serious illness down on the east side of the office, and an email was sent, and we didn't become aware of it till Friday afternoon after the deadline for getting yourself placed on the agenda. And I know Clerk Treasurer Strecker emailed you, and you are also out of town, Mr. Maloney, and you recognized that and you agreed to come in. And I told Ms. Strecker that I would allow you to address the issue since you wanted to get on the agenda. So you're welcome to come up here and we'll hear from you too. And I'll just introduce you, Al Maloney from Transwest Ford in Scottsbluff.
9 years, so yeah, a lot of you know me, so thank you for taking the time to allow me to come and visit. Many of you know me, know my experience, 24 years in this business, and a lot of that is, my big background, as many of you don't know, is commercial and commercial bidding. A lot of it is obviously the fact that I read your bid, and in that bid specifically, it's really not spelled really specifically that you want that exact body. We did meet that minimum specification and exceeded it. So at the end of the day, we did, we were awarded that bid, obviously. We did move forward and spent quite a bit of money to move forward to meet your 90-day deadline, and now we're out a couple $1,000s. So obviously we're a little bugged by the situation. And I'm not privy to the rest of the bids and what their specifications were and if they met the criteria, because it is pretty loosely worded. So I'm not sure what they said or what they did not say. However, I did specify in our bid that per your exact bid specifications that there's no way that that exact body would have been built in that time frame. So that's why we went with our bid. Now, furthermore, I did visit with 2 of your employees. One emailed me in June, specifically on that body that we had in stock. I did share our specifications. I have the emails to prove that. Furthermore, I've had a visit twice to my dealership with my associates, one here and one that's not here, to discuss that said body. So I'll entertain any questions.
I'll go first. I don't have much, I just guess I want to have a conversation, Al.
Sure.
So in our bid spec that I received, and I've never seen this before until this issue arose, but I scoured everybody's bid spec, or a bid submittal on the spec that the city put out. And concerning the toolbox, the body,
Yes, sir.
we requested, it's in the headline, it says low-profile service body, and then it requests the following specs are to obtain an 8-foot-long steel service body for a 56-inch cab-to-axle chassis cab or box removal chassis, equivalent to a Reading body model, that one there. Then it further says that the utility box must be approved by the city if specs are not in compliance.
Which we did have one of your representatives to visit the dealership and state that that body did meet specifications. Furthermore, it states that it does state minimum specifications in the first page in the detailed specifications.
So I scoured the internet for this make of service body, and it brought me to Reading's website, and their low profile body is a height of 35 inches.
Their box compartment's 35, ours is 38.
And yes, thank you, I went and looked up yours and it's 38, so we're at a discrepancy of 3 inches.
Correct.
So it got me to looking at some other things here, and that the actual low bidder, by dollars wise, submitted a vehicle that was not in spec. On the chassis side, they submitted a crew cab when the bid requested an extended cab.
And to elaborate on that, our truck actually is a chassis, a true sat chassis, not a box delete. So the difference is, a couple differences. A box delete actually starts life off, it's a pickup where you remove the box. The frame is actually different. The chassis is actually called a narrow frame in our language. Typically, there's a 4-inch difference in what we call the CA, or cab to axle. So in this particular circumstance, our body is a foot longer. That's why ours is a 9 foot versus an 8, because you're allowed to have that additional room because of that. The other circumstance is it gives a little bit more durability, but the frame width is standardized across the industry, across the makes, whether it's us, General Motors, or Stellantis, or Chrysler.
Do you handle I know in this bid you didn't handle the Reading make of service body, but does TransWest have access to that?
We do, and we did speak with their rep, not me in particular, but Mr. Collar did.
Is a standard body, can it meet the 90-day delivery time?
Excuse me?
The standard body of a Reading make, can it meet the 90-day delivery time?
I did not investigate that. I can't answer that. And there might be a possibility if they had a pool unit available, but that's if they had the chassis. Now that there's a there's a model year switch right now because it is that time of the season. So it's going to depend on what availability there is.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I noticed the other bidders, submitted model year 2026 vehicles. And so I wanted to ask you, when do model year vehicles, when do they start entering production and so forth? When can you get a model year 26 vehicle?
Traditionally, it used to be, back in the day, July used to be the cutoff. So July going into August used to be the switch. Now that cadence is gone. So it really depends. For instance, for a long time, we had a big run of 25s for Super Duty in particular. So our 26 Super Duty just started production in August, and that's split between two plants. Stellantis or Ram had a really short run of 25 Rams. They started 26 pretty early. I know my competition well. So GM, kind of the same thing, but they're running their chassis very short because they like to produce higher end models that make them more money. So they all slice it a little bit differently. But it also comes down to product launches. So if they have redesigns, it also coincides with what their product launches are. They may have a old design coming out. They may want to launch their new design earlier. A competitor might be launching one. They may want to get in front of them. So it kind of ebbs and flows with what's going on. So they might release a model earlier or later. Just depends on what's going on and what their product cycle ensues. Ours this year is a little bit more traditional than normal.
I don't have anything at the moment, Mr. Mayor, unless anybody else does. Thank you for answering my questions.
Absolutely, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. If council approves this rejection of all bids, hey, I don't want to put you on the spot, but would you intend to resubmit a bid?
And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little annoyed, and here's why. This is very murky, okay? From the world I'm from, and the bid world I'm from, and you know where I'm from, is Colorado. The bids I'm used to, are very line items. So if you were an option off, you were done, okay? So if you didn't do a limited slip axle, you were disqualified. So it was very, very specific. So this is very loose. That's why I can pick this apart. That's why I was pretty surprised when I received that letter, because technically I am in compliance with this. Whether it's low or high or however you want to slice it, I don't know. I'm not privy to what the other competitors obviously submitted. I don't know if they offered a warranty. If you took my warranty out of it, I'm technically low, if you want to get down to brass tacks. So, we can slice this however you want, I live here, guys. I support this community a lot. My owners still support this community like we're still here. I still volunteer to coach. I'm missing a game right now. I still involved in 3 boards. You know, I'm pretty much like live here and still have my business here. I just spent an enormous amount of money at the livestock sale. You know, we support this community. When we left and said that we're going to support it, we meant it. And it's 3 years later and we're still doing it. So when we say we're going to do something, we do it. And I do it too. So I participated in every bid that you guys have sent out, haven't I? So this needs to be tightened up. You know, nothing again. I love competition. I have no issues with that. But if I'm going to be put up against somebody, I want it to be fair. And if it wasn't fair against them, hey, I have no issues or qualms against that. However, I want it to be fair. That's all. So, and I'm be more than willing to help tighten this up, but it's got to be tight. That's my issue.
And this is how I look at this, okay? I support my staff who looked into this, right? And determined after running it by me to do the notice of intent to request to reject, okay? Because I think we made a mistake, okay? I'm not saying we didn't make a mistake. And I try to recognize that people do make mistakes. You don't want to make them, but you do make them. And if you do make a mistake, you want to be as fair and honest and forthright with all concerned as you can possibly be. So that's how I'm looking at it. And I'm sorry for any inconvenience that anybody, you or any of the other bidders have because of this. And we sure better have learned a lesson to be as careful as we can possibly be when we deal with these issues, Mr. Maloney. So that's where I'm coming from on it.
But I mean to go back and ask, okay, if my vehicle was analyzed, twice and then suggested, because I listened to the minutes of the last meeting specifically, and questions were asked, and I'm just confused on how now it's an issue. So that's just my 2 cents there. So there's just a piece of the puzzle missing from my point of view.
Well, and
Anyways,
let me just say this one last thing. I've been mayor since January of '23, and Rick's been on more late than that, and Shane came on when I did, and I think Wayne came on when I did. Dennis has been here a while, okay? Don't like to make mistakes. Feel bad about making them. Try to do everything we can to do the best we can with what the circumstances are that exist, and try not to make these mistakes again, okay? So I just, and we want to maintain credibility not only with you, but with all the other bidders that may be interested, okay? We don't want to destroy our credibility. We wouldn't like you guys to destroy your credibility. You didn't, okay? I'm not saying you did, but I want to have a good relationship with the city of Torrington with all the folks out there who are interested in making bids to us. I really do. So we're just trying to fix a mistake, Al, and I apologize to you and anybody out there that's inconvenienced or whatever by the mistake. So just want to let you know that.
appreciate that. Anything else?
I just want to say, obviously what the mayor said, we're in our first terms or so forth, but, we're not going to get everything we're asking for when we put out these bids. Some of them are going to have a different rear axle ratio. I'm just looking at a few things. Some are going to have a larger leader instead of what we're asking for. Some of them are going to have, I was looking at some, we requested gray cloth seats. Some are going to just submit black. Some are going to exceed door thickness and panel weights. we're talking about 3 inches. And the bid spec, to me, states that it should be equivalent to the model which they're requesting, and furthermore, that it must be approved if specs are not in compliance. And it seems to me that those check marks were checked off when your submission was inspected by our staff. It's how it looks to me.
And that's why I'm here.
I mean, I looked up online. How do you say the make of your
Selzy, they're built in California.
Selzy? I can't find that Selzy makes a 35-inch profile vehicle box. They make a 33, right?
I've sold their boxes for, well, most of my career, so
Reading makes a 35.
I've sold them all. That's why, yeah, I don't want to press the issue. I appreciate the apology. Don't mean to hit your mic, but, you know, I'm good at picking stuff apart. That's why it's like, so, not to beat a dead horse. But, you know, equivalent to the body, people looked at it.
Yeah. I must say that I'd like to echo the apology. I'm chagrined that this situation has happened, but I'm not the car professional, the automotive professional that you are. I rely on, as a city councilman, I rely on staff to make recommendations.
And as you should. I mean, you're only privy to the information that you get, and you can't be there every day, just like I have my staff. You know, I can't work on every car. You know, I help Brian. You know, Brian does the majority of the bidding for me. You know, I just help him because I have a lot of experience. You know, teamwork makes the dream work, right? So you can only do so much, but I appreciate that. I'm very black and white. I'm pretty easy. So, but, you know, I'll press an issue if I have to. But, you know, I understand mistakes are made. That's my job, is a mistake, you know, fire putter hour. I mean, that's kind of what, you know, I make people happy that aren't happy. You know, that's kind of my job. So, you know, when I first arrived in Torrington 9 years ago, you guys knew who ran the dealership, right? So I spent a long time trying to repair that. And that's when I first met Dennis Kelly, you know, delivering parts. So, you know, I didn't know a soul, so I had to make a lot of friends pretty quick. You know, not that the old owner was quite bad, but you know, I had a lot of work to do. Let's just put it that way. So, you know, I get it when mistakes are made. I do. I really do. But when it comes to money, guys, you know, I do take it serious. So, you know, that's my job. That's who I represent. You know, and I'm very professional when it comes to that. So, anything else I can answer?
I don't think so. We appreciate it, Al. Thank you.
Thanks for your time, guys.
You're welcome. All right. Gentlemen, any questions for Mr. Troxel or Mr. Harkins or Ms. Strecker or Mr. Eddington? Before I call for motion, it's my understanding that if council approves this rejection of all bids, that it will be let out for rebid. Is that right? I'm getting nods of affirmation. Okay, all right. And I just want to say I appreciate Mr. Maloney's concerns. I share them, frankly, and I share the concerns of council. We don't like to make mistakes. And when we do, we try to rectify them as best we can. I don't think there's ever been a mistake made that wasn't an inconvenience to somebody. That's just the nature of mistakes. So here we are. The proposal is to reject all bids, and then rebid and do it again. So we are on item number 5. Request to reject the bid on the new 1-ton extended cab work truck with utility box. That's what the issue is on the agenda this evening. Do I have a motion to reject all the bids?
Mr. Mayor, I would propose rejecting the extended cab from September 2nd and rescind the notice of award.
All right. If I can understand that and repeat it, Councilman Kelly. We're on item number 5. Your motion is to reject the bid as set forth and rescind the notice of award. Is that correctly stated?
Correct.
All right. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second it for purposes of further discussion.
All right. I have the motion from Councilman Kelly and the second to his motion from Councilman Deal. Now we're in discussion period.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to be a no vote on the motion, and here's the reason why. We're talking about 3 inches. If the discrepancy is because other bidders submitted a utility box at a height of 40 inches, the preliminary awarded bidder, his box is 38 inches. We're talking about a less than 10% discrepancy between the two. I guess I go back to my remarks earlier. Every one of these bids probably at some point could get thrown out very easily for not complying with the spec package that we issued. Case in point, the actual low bidder by dollars submitted a crew cab. States plainly on the bid spec an extended cab pickup. But a exception was made. One bidder submitted all season tires when the bid spec calls for all terrain. Some submitted bids with non-compliance on the warranty. So we can get picky. Probably never going to find the exact vehicle without actually building it. Then you're going to be paying more. I think the awardee was or is in compliance with our stipulation that the box must be approved by the city if specs are not in compliance. And furthermore, the service body requested should be equivalent to the model suggested. Again, 3 inches, Mr. Mayor. So I will be voting no on the rejection of the bids.
Has the rejection notice been already sent to the other bidders? Pardon me?
Each and every one of them.
Every one of them been sent? Well, we gotta rescind it then.
Well, just a second.
Redo it.
No, just a second. The notice that was sent out reads as follows. The City of Torrington hereby gives notice to all vendors attached hereto, which was all of them, as Mr. Eddington just said, that the city staff will request at the September 16th, 2025 council meeting that the governing body reject all bids considered at the September 2nd, 2025. So the request of staff is to reject all bids. It's not that they have literally been rejected, because they cannot be rejected, is my understanding, until council votes to reject them.
Correct. You awarded the bid, you have to reject the bid.
So, and if council chooses not to reject the bid, then the bid stands.
Bid stands, and we likely defend a lawsuit.
And are we going to be in violation of the Wyoming percentage?
Highly likely. And that's why Treasurer and the Director of Public Works and myself met when we were contacted by a couple other vendors. And their concern was that the bid that was awarded was not in compliance. My understanding is every other bidder bid the low profile that was specifically requested. As that special order, that could not meet the 90-day timeline. They all stated, or the two that contacted us stated that if they were bidding a high profile or standard, whatever it's called in the industry, that they could meet the 90-day time limit. So as the gentleman stated, the three of us believed the fair thing to do was to reject all bids. The way that box probably should have been bid in bid specs is an option for low with a price, standard with a price, and time limits on each one of them. Then we inherently possess that discretion to choose which one meets those bid specs. The way it was set forth and the way it was interpreted by all other 6 vendors, it required a low profile. And so that's my understanding of the problem. And we agreed that was a mistake and that there would be a lot less problem in rejecting all bids and letting everybody bid again.
In plain English, if the ones who complained said if we would have been allowed to have the standard sized box, we could meet the 90-day time frame too.
Correct.
It was because of the low utility box that extended that time frame for delivery.
That's my understanding.
Because this is the first time I've ever done this, I'll let you come back up here, Mr. Maloney.
I'll make it quick. I've won a lot of bids because I read them. It's not my fault that they can't read the bid. That's all I'll add.
Well, here we are, right? We made a mistake. I think every member of this council is an honest man. I truly do, and I am too. And when you make a mistake, you deal with the consequences of it. And so we're looking at Transwest that's disappointed, obviously, and rightfully so. And then we're looking at these other bidders that are disappointed, and I think rightfully so too. There can be disagreement on who's comparatively more disappointed or disgruntled. But what I'm concerned about is the future. Okay?
Sorry.
And a mistake was made, and going forward, how do we do the least amount of damage to the pool of potential bidders, okay, and try to minimize, if we can, the liability for the city? Because the last thing I want is a lawsuit from this side of the room and and a lawsuit from the other side of the room, okay? I'm trying to make this right as can be made, given the mistake that we made. So, there's that. And I know it's disappointing, I get that, truly do. But to me, it seems like the fairest thing we can do to maintain our credibility as an entity and have people be interested in us in making bids is to reject the bids and let it go out for rebid. Now, is that inconvenient for everybody concerned? Yes. But I see that as making the most people who have been injured to some degree whole again. Does that make sense from a legal perspective, what I just said?
It does, and that's exactly what the three of us believe was prudent, and that's why we discussed and I drafted the notice of intent to request, again, only request that you reject and rescind because you awarded, we couldn't do it without your approval. And that's why we're here before you tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I would call the question.
All right. I don't think I need a second on the call to question, do I?
No.
Okay.
No, you either accept or reject that.
All right. There is a motion in item number 5 to reject the bid. That was by Councilman Kelly, and a second by Councilman Deal. We are in discussion section. Is there any further discussion before I call for a vote? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Item number 5, all those in favor of rejecting the bid as set forth in item 5 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
All right, that's 3-2 to reject. So reject the bid, 3-2 vote. Did you get that? Okay. All right, we're moving on. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, we are on item number 6, ordinance on first reading relating to the Planning Commission. And Mr. Eddington, would you please read the ordinance by title?
It's an ordinance amending and reenacting Chapter 2.20 of the Torrington Municipal Code 2025 revisions relating to planning commissions.
Thank you, Mr. Eddington, and Mr. Estes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Again, before you is the updated Planning Commission ordinance. As the mayor stated in our staff meeting today, I believe last time this was looked at was 1984. So basically what this started out as is an issue that I had when the Planning Commission didn't meet as a quorum. It really created issues downstream for us and for the people that put the paperwork in. We'd have to reapply. They'd have to repay, and I didn't feel that was right. It was getting to be more and more. It was causing us issues on our plats. So we started looking at the ordinance, and basically what this ordinance does mostly, it establishes a minimum if they do not meet that it can move forward to the council. That's one. 2, they talked about term limits. There's a 10-year term limit on it, on this draft, or this addition. And then it took all the mays and wills and shalls out and just put review in. That's really what was hurting me, is some things I'd have to take would be, they may look at it, some say they shall look at it. And when it said shall, and I had to take that plat to the county, they would not record it without that planning commission's signature on it because it said shall have a vote on it. And so if they didn't meet, they never had a vote. So that created a lot of issues. The other thing, it just says that the last 2 things on the last page is if you wanted the planning commission to do a full-blown city plan and a zoning plan, you would direct that body to do that. That would be at your discretion. I will tell you my intention in the last 25 years of doing this, going forward, I have no intentions of doing anything different. Everything that comes before me, that come before me before, will go to the planning commission for a decision. It just gives me the option, if they don't meet, I have an out to take forward to the council, and I don't have to go back to the applicant and say, oh, by the way, you got to pay another application fee and wait another month and a half. Basically, that's what that does, other than the term limits that the mayor has put in there, which I think is a good deal, but I can let him speak to that. I would hope the body would vote this
on first reading, approve it so we can at least get it on the table and start talking about it. If there's any changes, we got 2 more votes to do that. So I'd be open for any questions.
And this removes that ambiguity that was there before of whether or not the planning commission has to sign the plats. And
Correct. And it did say in there they had to sign the plat, but when it said shall, and they
It
didn't have
said
it.
will, but it was
Yeah.
interpreted as shall.
Yeah, and it was back and forth, and there were several different places, and some didn't have any, but, yeah. And then going forward, like we were talking about earlier in our other meetings, you know, back in 1982 and 84, town was booming, it was going. There were a lot of subdivisions, Blodorn was bringing stuff in, but we just don't see the subdivisions like we have in the past, and I don't foresee that unless we do some major changes to our boundaries.
Because we're pretty much landlocked, right?
Pretty much landlocked, yep.
Mr. Mayor, this doesn't change the responsibilities of the planning commission.
Nope. Still the same responsibilities. It just sets forth the fact in law and fact that the planning commission is subordinate to the council sitting as Board of Adjustment. If this council sitting as Board of Adjustment agrees with the planning commission, fine. If they don't agree with the planning commission, fine, because this council sitting as Board of Adjustment has the final say-so on it. And it's pretty clear that that's what the law is, and that's how this ordinance is written. So it's clear that it's subordinate to the Board of Adjustment when the council's sitting as Board of Adjustment. And I like the idea of having full 5 members, okay? And I probably beat that to death at the work session, right? That's a 3-person quorum. It's stated there that you've got to have a 3-person quorum to decide something. It gives 4 residents sit on that board or that commission and 1 non-resident. Under the old one, it's 7, which I think is an unwieldy number and too large a number. And the two county residents. And I mean, I can do hypotheticals under the current statute or ordinance. If the planning commission were to meet and they had a quorum of 4, potentially you could have 2 county people and 2 city people. And then the county has 50% say-so on what goes on in this city. And that just doesn't sit right with me when it's a city planning commission. So, and it'd be a whole lot easier to get a quorum, I think, and get meetings going with a 5-member committee. And then if they can't meet for whatever reason, the last thing I want to happen on that one where we'd get pushback, you know, in recording things, is a citizen to come in here, pay you, perhaps pay a publication cost for a couple of weeks in the newspaper, and you go there with your ring in your hand saying, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to do this again. That just doesn't sit right with me. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Any questions for Mr. Estes or Mr. Eddington?
How, excuse me, how will the existing membership be handled?
Well, this is how I look at it, okay? This is, I think, fortuitous timing because this ordinance won't pass until 3 readings. That puts us off into second half of October, okay? As this council knows, I come in, I think it's the first meeting, isn't it, in January, with all my commissions, okay, and boards and whatever, and appointment of the various city officials and all that. So I would envision, if this passes on 3 readings, to come to the council with, here's the 5 people,
that I've chosen, appointed, subject to your approval. And that would be presented along with the city officials and the other committees and at the first meeting of the year. So that's a good, fresh start for us, is how I look at it. And I don't know how much will go on with the planning commission between now and the end of the year anyway.
I got one coming up, hopefully. Probably it for the year.
So it's not like they're super busy.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, do we need to read the title?
Mr. Eddington did read the title. I didn't forget him to
Did.
have him do that.
It was a while ago, but I did.
Just been discussing it that long. Good question, though, because I have forgotten to have him do that before.
Not hearing any further questions, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve on first reading the ordinance on the Planning Commission.
All right, item number 6, I have a motion from Councilman Deal to approve on first reading the ordinance relating to the Planning Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Kelly. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Item 6, all those in favor of approving the Planning Commission ordinance on first reading signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
That's 4-1. Approved on first reading. All right. Let me make sure I'm doing this in order. Yes. Next item on the agenda is approval of the bills. Item number 7.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Attached to your agenda for a list of bills, and then also handed out tonight was an additional set. I'd be glad to answer any questions on those bills presented for your consideration.
Just for my informational purposes, on the first set, on page 4, the promotional fly swatters. What department were those for?
Mosquito department. And the fly department now.
Okay.
So our sprayers of the mosquito sprayers, they were stopped a lot and had questions to answer, and they asked if they could maybe hand them a fly swatter. And you know, we haven't done anything promotional in a long time, and we thought that was a good cause, so.
So you're killing flies and mosquitoes.
There's definitely a difference between living in city limits and out of city limits. You can definitely tell.
Yeah, and I want to say, you know, this is the first year, or the first summer season for the mosquito spraying, that I have had 0 complaints. You know, with, hey, they're too near my house, or stay away from I haven't had any complaints this year, so I think the people doing the job have figured out where to stay away from and so on. So I've had no complaints about the mosquito spraying this year. And we haven't had West Nile either this year that I've heard of, so.
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
It's still, it goes till October 1st is
Does
the,
it?
the highest season is from the end of August through October. Yep.
I think by and large, Mr. Mayor, the citizens appreciate this service. This is a service, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a service, totally borne by the city. We don't receive any reimbursement anymore from the state, do we?
We
For the West
do.
Nile program?
We do, we are able to get the insecticide, I believe, from the county weed and pest. They do help us with that.
But we pay the wages and the
Yes.
fuel and use our
And
equipment.
Our equipment. Yep.
It's a little inconvenience when you're sitting outside and the fogger truck comes by, but you can get back out there momentarily and.
And I think those application folks are really sensitive about that. If they see you out there, they are, shut it down, yeah. So they're good at that anymore, so.
I just noticed the chief had shared when we were gonna kind of end the season spraying, and everybody on Facebook, rather, and that everybody on there seemed to be appreciative of what the city does for that
Good.
service.
Good.
I got one question on the first set of bills. On page 7, Northland Cable Television. Why is there such a discrepancy between the different charges? Like the one data line to cemetery is $4.13, and the data line for the court's $140. How come there's such a discrepancy
It's based on usage.
based on usage?
So you can imagine that City Hall is probably a lot larger than the cemetery or the shop.
I mean, is it figured by what criteria?
Minutes.
By minutes?
It was based on minutes. It's not recalculated every bill, but once a year I look at the minutes and then I divvy them out to the departments. Now, the fiber internet is directly for a certain department, so you can see there at the top of page 8. We have fiber internet for water and sewer. They have direct fiber to their building, so that is solely borne by that department.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor, on original set, page 10. It's for Sanitas Technologies. It's the landfill software annual renewal. And I thought, perhaps it's not happening yet, but I thought we were going to purchase a new software for the landfill.
We are. It is not in place yet.
Okay.
We are working on the conversion right now.
Got to keep the old up while we transition.
Don't want nothing.
Yeah.
On the first set, page number 12, the bottom, Zill Heating. Says backflow testing, $1,039. What backflow did they test?
That was the contractor that tested all of our city.
What are all the other backflow testing charges for then? What are all the other backflow testing charges for then? Because there's one that's over $1,000, and then there's some that are $225, $180, $135.
He has to repair some, so if it's Zell, yeah, those are probably all repairs that he had to do to the backflows. Kelly can answer that for you, but she bids that out every year?
And some of them may have more than one. So, so that could be part of it too. So one of them is the shop. The charge was $45. They probably just have one.
Yeah, like the large one there.
That's
That's
for
for the
parks.
parks.
So they have a lot of different backflows to test. So I think mainly it's just the quantity per department. So that's how it's spread out on this spreadsheet, is each GL code for each department.
I know at one time over the years, we've been kicking around the idea of having it all done in-house, but doesn't seem like that's happening either. Mr. Mayor, if there's no further questions on the bills, I would make a motion to pay them as presented.
All right, we are on item number 7, approval of the bills from September 3rd, 25 to September 16, 25. We have a motion from Councilman Kelly to approve them. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Victorin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for vote. Item number 7. All those in favor of approval of the bills as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, the bills are approved. All right, on our amended agenda, and I will give this shot at explaining this, it's item 7A, next era. That's that wind and some bit of solar that's all in Platte County, where there's an upcoming Industrial Siting Council meeting on November 20th and 21st. The administrator for the ISC has sent out notices to all the entities in Laramie County, Platte County, and Goshen County who are potentially eligible for impact assistance. Impact assistance is where you go before the Industrial Siting Council, and we did that a couple of years ago in the Pony Express room. The city of Torrington did, and the town of Yoder did. Now, not the same amount, a notice was given 2 years ago like it was this time. I think we have Jenny Staben is the new administrator, and she went out of her way to make sure anybody who's potentially eligible to apply for impact assistance funding was notified of it. I know I have been to at least 2 special meetings of the Goshen County Commissioners. One was a couple of weeks ago, if not 3 weeks ago. And the idea was, should we do a joint memorandum of understanding, which could include Laramie County, Platte County, and Goshen County? And according to those who have been in contact with Jenny Staben, which is the county grant writer, Hannah Fulmer, and the county attorney, Mr. Boyer, and Michael McNamee is involved with contacting the chairman of the county commission in Laramie County and the chairman of the county commission in Platte County. This is why this is just all of a sudden, because there's a deadline of the 19th, which is Friday, where Torrington and our council has to give its consent to be included as part of the MOU. Now, in the discussion that was had today for an hour and a half, this was brought up 10 times. There's an availability of funds of $12 million. And if not every entity in the county gets on board with the joint MOU, then that just has the effect of knocking that potential pool of money for impact assistance down from 12 million to 8 million. So that's one issue, okay? And I'm just giving you the general outline here, okay? this has been sort of a day-by-day, week-by-week thing, because we didn't know until today what the best option was. The city of Torrington could go on its own. It could enter an appearance and do an exhibit and arrange for testimony like Mr. Eddington did and Ms. Strecker did at the last one, okay? Now, that would have the effect of drawing the pool down from 12 million to 8 million, okay? Under their arcane esoteric rules. This impact assistance it only comes into play after the project is started. And my understanding is could be months after the project is started, okay? So, and there's a limited amount of funds. The Industrial Siting Council has the authority to divvy the funds up in the way that they see fit. I know that when we went to the one in October of '23 regarding the solar potential farm out southwest of Yoder, I don't remember how much they had, but I don't even remember how much we were awarded, Ms. Strecker, do you?
No.
It was more than 100,000, maybe 200,000.
Yeah.
But it doesn't come into play unless and until the project actually starts. And then it's based on sales tax revenues for the project. And then there's X percent put in this fund to use for impact assessment. So it's a very arcane thing. One thing that the county was concerned about today was if, well, here's another problem with it. The applicant, Next Era, there's no deadline when they have to get their proposed plans to you. So you don't really know what roads they want to use, where, if anywhere, they want to put man camps or anything like that. And it just came in, was it very recently, it's 2,500 pages.
2,600 pages.
2,600 pages, the application, okay? Now, there's no problem with this, and I was explaining to people, whatever entity you are, don't undersell yourself, because you can ask for as much as you want. Now, if you have to go in and present an exhibit and testify about it, it better be rational, okay? Because you've got to present rational reasons for requesting assistance. And it can be anything that a creative person could think of. EMS, law enforcement, jail space, dispatch, and about anything you can think of that could be impacted by a sudden coming of 300 guys working out there, okay? So, anyway, that's my best shot of explaining it this. But what they're looking for is a deadline, and then if they're expecting all the entities that want to get on board on the joint MOU to let the county know by Friday, because if this council consents to join the joint MOU, then, and I think it's Mr. Boyer or Mr. Rex Johnson, who's representing Platte County in this, will notify Ms. Jenny Staben, who is the director administrator, and that hard deadline of September 24th for the MOU will be waived. She's wanting to work with us. And as long as she knows we're serious and we can show that all the eligible entities have consented to join together on this MOU, then we can do that. The future deadlines, then, we don't have to worry as much about them, is my understanding. And Mr. Eddington, you'll remember this, like there's a deadline for entering appearance as a party. So you get to appear as a party, which we did last time. And then they have a pre-hearing conference that we're invited to attend. All those are out somewhat in the future. I think one of the first deadlines, October 31st, and maybe November 2nd, and then the hearings.
November 3rd, November 7th is the pre-hearing conference, and then November 20th and 21st is the hearing.
And that's in Chugwater, I think.
They're all in Chugwater, yeah.
Okay. It's yes, there are no wind towers or solar panels going up in Goshen County. They're all over there in Platte County.
But we may be impacted by the.
Yes. And Goshen County certainly will, because they were talking today about those wind tower people probably don't want to use the interstate coming into there because of they're more heavily regulated traveling on the interstate than they would be on 85. And they're looking at maybe Bear Creek Road. You're all familiar with that, which is oiled for 8 miles. Those trucks will tear that into smithereens if they use that. So
It goes right through the old Parsons place there, too.
I know, there's all those issues.
Those wind turbine props, they already go through town on trucks.
Well, I know, but I'm talking about hundreds of, however many they're putting out there on back county roads. Now, that's not us, but we have potential impact. If those guys all get drunk in Torrington on a Saturday night and get DUIs or, you know, and there'd be good stuff that comes with it, right? They'll shop at, but you know, and this county takes care of, or this city takes care of a lot of the county EMS, not all of it, but who they gonna call if there's injuries and so on? You know, they may call us, Wheatland, even Laramie County, I don't know, depending on how big of a problem they have. Law enforcement,
Fire department.
All those sorts of things that are impacts when a whole bunch of people come in all at once to work on a project. So, Lynette, did I leave anything off of that?
I don't think so. You did really well. We just need permission to move forward and be a party to the MOU. The MOU will be worked out and we'll bring it back to you, but I think we should try to be a party. We will be impacted, and I think we should apply for, I haven't worked on the numbers, but it'll be similar to last time, I think, so.
And again, you know, we do have some experience. Jim and Lynette worked on that, and put together a good exhibit and a good package, and Lynette testified and Jim asked the questions, and I think they even opened up, I can't remember, it's been 2 years, but I think even the board members had an opportunity to ask you questions. Because they're looking for a rational basis for why you're asking for this money, okay? It's kind of backwards because, you know, if the impact happens, you have to pay for it yourself until you can possibly get reimbursement down the line. And it's only 12 million. And when you think about 3 counties that could be impacted, when I was there today, you're hearing about Goshen County on their 8 miles of oil on Bear Creek Road. It's $1 million something a mile.
1.5 million a mile to reconstruct
Redo that. So, but I think the council, or I think the city should apply for those impact assistance funds. We can't just not and let that go. And if we go on our own, what we're hearing, and I think credibly so, is that pool of 12 million immediately drops down to 8 million for some arcane reason. So,
Mr. Mayor, having lived in Gillette at the end of the coal industry coming into town for the first time, and Wild and Crazy and Wooly West, we definitely should apply, I do believe.
I think so too. Not to say it's ever going to happen, but if it does happen, and we're approved at that hearing for some level of impact assistance, then we can look forward to hopefully receiving some percentage of that.
So, thinking about this, Mr. Mayor, is the MOU with all of the local governments within that radius of the project, or is the MOU that we would enter just with Goshen County?
My understanding, and Lynette,
All of them.
I think it's Laramie County, Platte County, and Goshen County. It's all one big packaged MOU. Now, I'm still unclear how the actual procedural process at the hearing will be. I think if it's an MOU, and Mr. Boyer was talking about, one thing we want to have in that giant-sized MOU is we're not going to pit ourselves against each other. Whatever an entity asks for, it asks for, and we're not going to condemn their asking. Now, I would guess that if there's only 12 million and everybody does their exhibit like they should and ask for really what is going to be the impact, you're going to probably have a group of entities from those three counties asking for 60 million. Because that's how much impact we'll have
Could be.
for that big a project.
Do they use a formula to figure the impact? Or how do they figure what the impact would be?
Well, that's kind of up to us, but last time we did a per capita expense for the service, and then they have an estimated number of workers who are going to be coming in during that period, and we use that to calculate the impact to the city services.
I think we took our budget, divided by the population, times the workers, and came up with numbers, and they loved it.
They did. We were well received. The city of Torrington was well received when we presented that at that hearing in October of '23.
I don't know, I see the only thing is if we don't apply for it, that's when we wind up using
Guarantee
it.
we won't have anything, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the important thing here for this discussion is we have the right to go it on our own. The problem with that is that it will destroy all the other entities in three counties. Not destroy them, but severely impact them because that pool of 12 million immediately drops to 8 for some reason. That's what we kept hearing today. And that's why I think Jenny Staben, the administrator's very highly suggesting that we all get together and do an MOU, because that's one of the reasons. And I think it will simplify the process for the Industrial Siting Council. That's a 2-day hearing. The one here, I think, it was a day, but it was just one day when we had it in October of
I think so.
'23. This is a huge project. I question whether they can even get it done in 2 days, depending on how many witnesses they have. And I would expect that if we get to that point, you're going to have to go over there with her as a witness, and me too, and present our case as to why we're asking for this much money.
That also means we're at the mercy of every other community apparently in 3 counties that they are going
Districts.
to agree to the memorandum of understanding.
Yeah, but part of the memorandum of understanding that was key, we're not going to fight another entity and they won't fight us. We're not going to.
That's for the money,
Yes,
yeah.
or for the request for
If
the
they,
money.
you've suggested that we could do it on our own. Well, Carpenter, Wyoming might decide to do it on their own.
That's a
And
possibility.
then it costs $4 million.
That's a possibility. We're hoping not. And I think that's part of the reason why, I assure you, Administrator Jenny Staben is snowing the area with notice to any eligible entity, and that's cities, towns, fire districts, those are the 3 I'm sure of, and counties.
I don't know how many city officials got certified letters, but a lot of us got certified letters.
I think, yes,
We all did, yeah.
all of you guys, and I know I did, and the staff did too.
It's a new concept because MOU was never even discussed last time.
Nope.
It was on there, but I think it was already past the time, by the time we got
Because the
it.
economists that we visited with never
It was
brought it
already-
up to me.
Past the deadline, so when we started.
I think Gus and Yoder were
They
the only
don't give
two
us
that
much
applied.
time.
They
I
don't.
mean, that letter is dated, what, the 9th? No, the 3rd, and the deadline's the 24th. And we all know MOUs aren't done overnight.
Yeah,
Well-
we had already had our first meeting of the month by the time of receipt of this letter.
I know. The beauty of the September 24th deadline issue is this. Administrator Jenny Staben has given everybody assurances. That's not a hard deadline, so long as she gets a statement that says, these are the entities that are going to be joining in on the MOU. And that's what we're doing here tonight, asking for this council to approve the city joining in on the joint MOU. That's the motion I'll be looking for, and the vote will be taken. Just that.
And then later, we have to actually enter an appearance as a party, correct?
Well, I'm not 100% sure on that. I mean, that deadline's out there a ways. I would feel better if we did. If
I
we,
think we still do that by October 3rd,
or 31st, I think.
31st, you're right,
Yeah.
31st.
Because, and Jim, I don't know, you're a lawyer, I'm a lawyer, right? I think obviously it's a contested case. It's an administrative procedure. That's why you have testimony and witnesses and stuff,
Right.
okay? And then the board, by law, has to base their decisions on what they award on a rational basis, on evidence, okay? They can't just pick numbers out of the air. It has to be done on a rational basis. But that's a question I had today, which I still don't know what the answer is. I was thinking, even if we do this MOU, joint MOU, then you're gonna have however many entities there are as part of that required to show up with a witness and a lawyer to ask them questions.
I think that's right. Still got to present evidence.
Now, now I know they said today Rex Johnson's been retained to represent Platte County. Now, I don't know if there would be an agreement by all the entities. Rex will be our main lawyer, and he's going to be the one asking the questions, and then we all just provide a witness, or whether each entity is going to have to provide a lawyer and a witness. I don't know. That, we don't know yet. So we're just doing this, getting through time. But the thing that's biting us right now is they're looking for this entity to consent to being part of this joint MOU, or agree to it. Agree to give its consent to do that. That's what we're looking for tonight. And Friday's the deadline. Fortunately, we had a meeting tonight that we could stick this on.
Mr. Mayor, I have a motion if the rest of the council is ready.
Let's hear it.
I would move to grant authorization for the city of Torrington through its staff to enter into the memorandum of understanding with other affected local governments for purposes of impact assistant funds in connection with the Chugwater Energy Project.
Okay. Thank you for stating. Well stated. I have a motion from Councilman Victorin, as stated. I'm not going to repeat it right now. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Deal. Do I have any further discussion? Not. No further discussion. So, all those in favor of authorizing city staff to notify that the city of Torrington is going to be part of this joint memorandum of understanding. All those in favor of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, this council is given to let them know that we'll be part of that. Thank you, folks. All right. We are now on item number 8, public comment. I don't see the fire chief here tonight. Okay. I had him at staff meeting this morning. There has been a couple of auto wrecks that they've responded to. Not many fires of recent date, but they've been doing a lot of non-fire events. They had the blood draw with the Torrington Police Department, and, pardon? They won, but there was, I think, 30 pints of blood drawn total. And Luis was saying this morning that the powers that be told him that that would help 90 people, those 30 pints of blood on average. So there was that, and they've been doing safety events. I know they did the one over at, I think, Trail Elementary with the eggs That was part of a safety event. And they did the county safety event fairly recently out at the fairgrounds, right? So, pardon?
Safe Kids Day, I believe.
Okay.
There was apparently a fire late this afternoon because the command truck and the fire truck went down north on East F.
Oh, okay.
That was,
That wasn't?
I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it was about 4 o'clock, and it was the command truck, and then the big engine came down later.
So, all right. Did I miss anything on the fire report? My memory from this morning?
Nothing that I can recall, sir.
Okay. All right. We are in public comment time. Is there anybody out there that has a public comment? Seeing none. Any council members have a public comment? Seeing none. I appreciate everybody's time and patience this evening. We have completed this evening's agenda, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks.